Most people go 3 days without realizing the one voice they hear more than anyone else, their own. And that voice, it either builds you or breaks you. The way you talk to yourself today will either become your prison or your passport. So for just 3 days, I'm going to challenge you, change the conversation you're having with yourself and watch how fast your life starts to change. You ever notice how quick your mind is to criticize you? It's almost like it's waiting for you to slip up, to make a mistake, to forget something, and the moment you do, that voice comes rushing in. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? You always mess this up. It's fast. It's automatic. And for a lot of people, it's louder than any encouragement they'll ever hear from anyone else. The thing about that voice is, it's yours. And when it's coming from inside you, it feels true. You believe it. You don't question it. If a stranger said half the things you say to yourself, you'd call them toxic, you'd walk away. But because it's in your own head, you let it stay. You let it play on repeat. And day after day, that critic doesn't just comment on your actions. It shapes your identity. So here's the first challenge for the next 3 days: catch the critic. Don't argue with it yet. Don't try to replace it yet. Just notice it. Notice how many times you call yourself names. Notice how often you predict failure before you even start. Notice when your brain tells you you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. Because if you can't catch it, you can't change it. Think about it like this. If a thief walked into your house, you'd recognize it. You'd stop what you're doing. You wouldn't just let them rummage through your drawers and take what's valuable to you. But every time your inner critic comes in, that's exactly what's happening. It's stealing your peace. It's stealing your confidence. And most of the time, you don't even realize it. You just hand it over because you're used to it. The first step to shutting that critic down is awareness. Awareness gives you choice. Without it, the critic runs the show. With it, you can finally pause and say, wait a second. That's not me. That's just a thought. And here's the truth: your brain is wired to keep you safe, not to make you happy. Safety to your brain often looks like being critical. It thinks if it points out every flaw, every mistake, you won't take risks, you won't get embarrassed, you won't fail. But what it doesn't realize is that this constant criticism keeps you small. It keeps you stuck. It convinces you that survival is the same thing as living, and it's not. So for 3 days, here's what I want you to practice: awareness without judgment. Every time the critic shows up, just catch it. You can even say, there it is. That's all. That small recognition breaks the automatic cycle. That pause is power. It's the first crack in a wall that's been holding you in place for years. And when you start to catch it, you'll be surprised. You'll be shocked at how often it shows up. But don't get discouraged by that. That's good news. Because every time you notice it, you've already taken the first step toward change. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The mess might already be there, but now at least you can see it. And once you see it, you can clean it up. So don't underestimate the power of this first step. Don't underestimate the power of just noticing. Catching your critic might sound small, but it's the beginning of every breakthrough. If you don't do this, nothing else I say today will matter. Because you cannot build a new conversation with yourself if you don't even realize the old one is controlling you. Catch the critic. Because until you do, the critic is catching you. So once you've learned to catch that critic, the next step is deciding what kind of voice you're going to replace it with. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think the opposite of self-criticism is blind positivity. They think it's standing in front of a mirror and chanting things you don't even believe. I'm perfect. I'm amazing. I never make mistakes. That doesn't work. Because deep down, you know it's not true, and your brain rejects it. That's why affirmations feel fake for so many people. What does work is shifting from judgment to coaching. Think about it. If you had a coach in your life who only screamed at you when you messed up, who only pointed out your flaws, who never encouraged you or guided you, how long would you want to play for that team? You'd quit. You'd burn out. And yet, that's how so many of us coach ourselves every single day. The best coaches don't lie to you. They don't pretend you played perfectly when you didn't. They're honest. They hold you accountable. But they also point you forward. They take what happened and they turn it into a lesson. Instead of, you're terrible, it becomes, here's what we're going to fix, and here's how you're going to get better. That's the shift. And this is the voice you've got to practice with yourself. Instead of, I'm so stupid for forgetting that, try, all right, I missed it this time. What can I put in place so I don't forget next time? Instead of, I always fail at this, say, I haven't gotten it right yet, but I'm learning. See the difference. One voice closes the door, the other keeps it open. Here's the secret: your brain believes what you repeat. It doesn't care if it's good or bad, true or false. If you repeat criticism, it carves deep grooves in your thinking. If you repeat coaching, it does the same. And over time, that coaching voice becomes natural. It becomes the default. But you've got to start practicing. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but isn't being hard on myself what makes me better? No. Being hard on yourself only makes you smaller. Being honest with yourself, being accountable, being willing to learn, that's what makes you better. A coach doesn't scream at you to crush your spirit. They challenge you to raise your standard. There's a difference. And you'll notice something powerful once you start talking to yourself like a coach. You'll start to trust yourself again, because when the critic is in charge, you don't trust your own voice. You hear it and you already know it's going to tear you down. But when the coach shows up, you start to rely on it. You start to believe it. You start to listen. And when you listen, you grow. For the next 3 days, I want you to practice this shift. Every time you catch that critic, don't just shut it down, reframe it. Ask yourself, if I were my own coach right now, what would I say? Not what would I want to hear, not what would sound nice, but what would actually push me forward. And then say that out loud if you can, quietly if you need to. But say it. This is how you start retraining the most powerful relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Not a critic that crushes you, not fake positivity that you don't believe, but a coach who keeps you moving forward. Because if you don't coach yourself, you'll keep quitting on yourself. One of the biggest traps people fall into with their self-talk is speaking in fear instead of power. You'll notice it in the small words, the way you phrase things. You say, I hope I can get this right. I'll try not to mess this up. Maybe one day I'll be confident. Do you hear it? Every one of those sentences plants a seed of doubt before you even begin. They sound harmless, but they're not. They're rehearsals for failure. And if you keep rehearsing failure, your brain will gladly perform it for you. The way you talk to yourself matters, because words don't just describe your reality, they create it. When you speak in fear, you shrink. When you speak in power, you expand. And the difference between those two directions is often just 1 or 2 words. Let me give you an example. You're about to walk into a job interview, and you're telling yourself, I hope I don't mess this up. Right there, you've already made failure the main character. You've made your nerves more important than your skills, but if you walk in saying, I'm ready to show them who I am, suddenly your focus shifts. You're not running from fear, you're stepping into strength. Same situation, same you, just a different script. This is why you've got to practice speaking in present power. Not, I hope I will, but I am. Not, maybe one day I'll be confident, but I am becoming confident right now. That single shift tells your brain that what you want is not a distant dream. It's a current direction. You're not waiting for it. You're stepping into it. Now, I know some of you might think, but isn't that lying to myself? No, it's not lying. It's leading. It's reminding yourself of the direction you're choosing. When a runner trains, they don't say, I hope I might finish this marathon someday. They say, I am training to finish. That doesn't mean they're at the finish line yet. It means they're on the path, they're committed, and their words line up with their effort. And you've probably already noticed this in your own life. When you tell yourself, I can't do this, how do you feel? Weak, hesitant, discouraged. And when you tell yourself, I've got this, what happens? You sit up straighter, your energy shifts, your body responds. Words are signals, not just sounds. Your brain listens, your body follows, and your future adjusts. For the next 3 days, I want you to pay close attention to the way you phrase things. Catch yourself when you speak in hope, in maybe, in someday, and then shift it to the present. Instead of, I hope I can handle this challenge, say, I am handling this challenge. Instead of, maybe I'll figure this out, say, I am figuring this out. Do you feel the difference? It's not fluffy positivity, it's grounded power, because here's the reality: if you always talk like your goals are far away, they'll stay far away. If you start talking like they're already in motion, they'll move closer. Your words aren't just commentary, they're commands. They instruct your mind on what to look for, what to expect, and what to create. And when you change those words, even slightly, you'll start to see your world differently. You'll stop rehearsing fear, and you'll start rehearsing courage. And the more you rehearse courage, the more natural it becomes. So stop speaking like your future is a maybe. Start speaking like your power is already here. Now, I want to give you something practical you can actually do. Because it's one thing to think differently in your head, but it's another to say it out loud. And there's something powerful about hearing your own voice speak back to you. That's why I call this the 3-day mirror test. Every morning, I want you to stand in front of the mirror, look yourself directly in the eyes, and speak one powerful sentence out loud. Just one. Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be complicated, but it has to be intentional. Here's the part that's going to surprise you. The first time you do it, it'll feel uncomfortable. You'll feel silly, you'll feel awkward, maybe even embarrassed, and you'll want to laugh at yourself. That's normal. You know why? Because most of us are used to hearing other people's voices more than our own. You've listened to parents, teachers, bosses, friends, even strangers on the internet more than you've ever listened to your own encouragement. So of course it feels weird. You're not used to it. But that's the point. That awkwardness is a sign that you're breaking a pattern. And if you can push through that, you're going to unlock something powerful. Because when you stand there, look yourself in the eyes and say, I am stronger than I think, or I am becoming more confident every day, or I am worthy of respect, you're forcing your brain to hear it, not just think it. You're using your own voice as evidence. Think about how often people replay hurtful words from others. One cruel comment from someone years ago still echoes in their mind. Why? Because words carry weight, especially when they come with emotion. The same thing happens here. When you put power into your words, when you say them with conviction, your brain doesn't just register them as sounds, it registers them as reality. Now, let me be clear. This isn't magic. You don't say one sentence in the mirror and suddenly your life is perfect. That's not how it works. But here's what does happen every day you do it. You train your mind to recognize a new voice. You start carving a new path. You start replacing the critic you caught on day 1 with a coach you created on day 2, and then with power you're speaking into the present on day 3. The mirror test ties it all together. And don't underestimate the ripple effect. You start your morning with that one intentional statement, and suddenly it shapes how you walk into the rest of your day. It's like setting the tone before the music plays. You've already decided how you're going to show up, and the world has to adjust to that. Some of you might think, but what if I don't believe it when I say it? That's okay, say it anyway. Belief doesn't always come first. Sometimes it follows practice. You don't go to the gym one time and expect to be strong. You go consistently, even on the days you don't feel like it, and the strength builds. Same with this. You speak it consistently, even if it feels shaky at first, and the belief will grow. For 3 days, give yourself this gift. One sentence in the mirror every morning. That's it. Just 3 days. You can do that. And if you really commit, you'll notice something shift. The voice that used to sound awkward will start to sound natural. The words that felt like a stretch will start to feel like truth. Because when you can look yourself in the eye and speak power into your own life, you stop waiting for someone else to do it for you. Even when you practice catching the critic, shifting into coaching, speaking in power, and using the mirror test, the truth is negative thoughts will still come. They always do. You can't stop them from showing up, but you can stop them from staying. The problem is most people let those thoughts spiral. One negative thought doesn't stay alone. It invites friends. You tell yourself, I'm not good enough at this, and within seconds it turns into, I'll never be good enough at anything. That spiral can take you from one small mistake to questioning your entire worth in less than a minute. That's why you need to practice interrupting the spiral. You have to break the momentum before it picks up speed, because thoughts are like snowballs. Catch them early, and they're small and easy to hold. Let them roll, and they turn into an avalanche. And once you're buried under it, it feels almost impossible to climb out. So here's what I want you to try. The next time a negative thought sneaks in, don't sit with it. Don't argue with it. Interrupt it. Use your body. Clap your hands. Stand up out of your chair. Take a deep breath and exhale loudly. Go for a short walk. Do something physical that jolts you out of the automatic loop. When your body shifts, your mind has to follow. It's like pulling the emergency brake on a runaway train. And once you've interrupted it, that's when you reframe it. You caught the critic. You shifted to coaching. You spoke in present power. You looked yourself in the mirror. Now you put all of that into practice in real time. So instead of letting the thought spiral, I can't believe I messed that up. I'm such an idiot. I'm always messing things up. You clap your hands, you take a breath, and you say, pause. I made a mistake, but I'm learning. Here's how I'll get better. See what happened. The spiral ended before it gained speed. This matters because most of the damage negative thoughts do isn't in the first punch, it's in the combination. One punch won't knock you out. It's the series, the rhythm, the way they pile on top of each other that wears you down. Interrupting the spiral breaks that rhythm. It gives you space to breathe, space to respond, space to choose. And this isn't just mental, it's chemical. When you let negative thoughts spiral, your body reacts. Stress hormones flood your system. Your chest tightens. Your muscles tense. But when you interrupt it, even with something as simple as standing tall and taking a deep breath, you flip that reaction. You tell your body, we're not going down that road. And when your body shifts, your mind calms. Think about it like changing the channel. You wouldn't sit there watching a show you hate, complaining about how awful it is, and never pick up the remote. But that's what most people do with their thoughts. They sit there, stuck on the same channel of criticism, replaying the same old reruns of doubt and insecurity. Interrupting the spiral is how you grab the remote and change it. For the next 3 days, I want you to practice this deliberately. The moment you feel a negative spiral beginning, don't let it run. Stop it. Interrupt it. Replace it. At first, it'll feel forced. You'll think, why am I clapping my hands in my own kitchen right now? But then you'll notice the difference. You'll feel lighter. You'll move on faster. And eventually, it won't feel forced at all. It'll feel like freedom. Because once you learn to interrupt the spiral, you'll stop living at the mercy of your thoughts and start living in the strength of your choices. At the end of each day, before you close your eyes and drift off to sleep, there's one more practice that can completely reshape the way you see yourself. Because how you finish the day matters just as much as how you start it. Most people end their day replaying every mistake they made, every awkward thing they said, everything they wish they could have done better. It's like they run the highlight reel of their failures on loop before bed, and then they wonder why they wake up already feeling behind. I want you to try something different. Instead of ending your day with criticism, end it with respect. And I don't mean fake praise or pretending the day was perfect. I mean taking a few quiet moments to recognize one thing you did right. Just one. Maybe it was something big, like finally having that hard conversation you were avoiding. Or maybe it was something small, like getting out of bed on a day you didn't feel like it, or choosing not to snap back when someone tested your patience. It doesn't matter the size. What matters is you acknowledge it. Because when you acknowledge it, you're telling your brain, this is who I am becoming. You're teaching yourself to look for progress instead of punishment. And over time, that changes everything. See, respect isn't something you only give to other people. It's something you build with yourself. And you build it one day, one choice, one acknowledgement at a time. Think about someone you admire. You don't respect them because they're perfect. You respect them because they show up, because they grow, because they keep moving. The same is true for you. You don't have to be flawless to be worthy of respect. You just have to be honest about your effort, your growth, and your willingness to keep going. Now here's why this practice is powerful. The brain remembers what you focus on last. When you go to bed replaying your failures, your subconscious keeps chewing on them all night. But when you go to bed focusing on what you did right, your subconscious gets to work reinforcing that. You literally sleep on self-respect, and you wake up with more of it. And here's the thing, it builds momentum. Tonight you find one thing. Tomorrow you'll start noticing two. By the end of the week, you'll catch yourself spotting the good in your day while it's still happening. You won't have to wait until bedtime to recognize it. It becomes automatic. Some of you might resist this at first. You'll think, but I didn't do anything worth acknowledging today. That's not true. If you're breathing right now, you've survived 100 battles no one else even saw. You showed up. You endured. That counts. Respect doesn't grow when you only celebrate the mountain peaks. It grows when you honor every step along the climb. So, tonight, when the critic tries to remind you of everything you did wrong, interrupt it. Remind yourself of at least one thing you did right. Say it out loud if you can. Write it down if you want. But don't let the day end without giving yourself that recognition. Because the way you talk to yourself in those last few minutes of the day will decide the way you see yourself in the first few minutes of the next one.